we're all sort of aware that that world is not as stable and as strong as it was in, let's say, the 80s or the 70s or even the 60s, where you could go get a job at a big corporation, work there your whole career, get a pension, and that was life, right?
You're listening to Alternative Investor Mastermind, where we do a deep dive on alternative investment opportunities and the lifestyle it can create. Join Jack Krupe as he presents actionable tips and tricks in doing passive real estate away from mainstream strategies. Go beyond the usual fix and flips and try less explored yet rewarding investing ventures. From multifamily properties, mobile homes to cryptocurrencies. Do not miss this opportunity to escape traditional assets and finally create wealth without Wall Street. Now your host, Jack.
So, as an entrepreneur, what's a typical day or week like for you as far as your routine?
So routine-wise, my mornings are pretty much. I've been pretty good with the following routine for a while now. So this is I feel like I can confidently say that this is actually a routine, not something I'm just starting. So I typically get up around. The alarm is set for around 5:30, but I usually make it around 6. Let's say 6:30. So I'm up in that time period. I quickly throw on a pair of shorts, a hat, and some sneakers. Grab my phone, grab a earbud, right, and off I go. So where I live, there's like a little bit of a walking trail. So I'll get up, stretch out a little bit, and then walk. The first thing I was doing was 3 miles, just a straight 3-mile walk. I wasn't trying to run, I wasn't trying to jog, just straight 3-mile walk. It took me about an hour, right? So about a 20-minute mile. So you do 3 miles, it's about an hour, and then I would go back to the house. Now I've done it where I'll walk the first mile, I'll run or jog combo the second mile, and then I'll walk the third mile. And I don't think that's enough exercise, but this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing. So, and I've been consistent with it, so I'm confident to talk about it, right? So the consistency is key. So that's how then I get back to the house, take a quick shower, get dressed, and make a cup of coffee. So I'm a coffee nut, so I have my coffee ritual. Typically for me, I'll grind the beans, and in Jersey I have an automated machine that does espresso and cappuccino. Here I've been doing French press, so I'll boil the water, grind the beans, fresh press, have a cup of coffee, read the news, maybe listen to a little bit of Bloomberg, kind of catch up on what's going on in the world, and then by then it's about almost around 9 a.m. AST, which for those who don't know this, we get an hour on New York time. The greatest life hack that I have nothing to do with, that I just secretly unlocked by being here. Right?
I love it. Yeah, same.
It's the best.
I don't get up nearly as early as you, but I can get up at like 7:45.
And it's only 6:45 in
Exactly.
New York, so you're still got that extra hour.
Yeah, and I'm also walking. It's usually about a 4-mile walk. I don't even try to run it.
Right. No,
my size and weight with my knees.
Your knees, yeah. Just the walk alone is great.
Yeah, it's therapeutic. I'll listen to sometimes a book on tape, a lot of times a podcast.
Nice.
Sometimes business, but sometimes just a comedy one. I'll throw on like a Joe Rogan Protect Our Parks, where it's just 4 comedians doing mushrooms and getting
just having fun.
Higher than a giraffe for JJ. Wait, we should cut. I don't even know why I just said that, but
we can just blurb it like beep, make a beep noise.
Let's not clip that one. And yeah, I mean, it's therapeutic for me too. It's just, granted, I look like, I guess people see the earbuds, but I'm just randomly laughing out loud by myself in the middle of a walk. I just wonder what other people are
like, what's that guy doing?
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, that's good. And then I have an Orange Theory membership that I don't get to very much, and then I also have a Planet Fitness. So I also try to, if it's raining or if I don't get out at 7:45 before it gets too hot outside, I'm not going to do that walk at noon. No,
of course, no. It's an early morning thing. I do the same thing. I'll either listen to a podcast while I'm walking or something like that. Get back, have the coffee. By then, like I said, I got that little bonus hour. And then I get into the office. Typically, I'm coming into the office. Sometimes I work from home, but I do like to come to the office and just have that separation mentally. I'll get here I'd say around 9:30. Sometimes earlier, but depending on things. Because it's only 8:30 at home, so I'm sort of timing it to New York time, right? Or not home, but I'm setting it to New York time, because that's when the people I need to work with wake up, right? So I get this little extra bonus time. So I get here, set up shop here, and begin my day working, checking emails, getting into my routine. I've been like working on fixing up, getting my database kind of collected and organized, working with the team, making sure everybody's kind of up to speed on what's going on. We follow the EOS system as well, and we'll do our meeting, we have a pipeline meeting, which is basically all the deals that we're working on. We do that twice a week. That's on Mondays and Thursdays, and then our business operations meeting, let's call it that, has nothing to do with the pipeline. That's usually on Thursdays at, I want to say like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., something like that. So and then most of the other time I'm in the office working. After work, I'll head out of here. Typically, we'll go home and have some dinner together, my girlfriend and myself. But we do go out. I love to go out and eat. So sometimes we'll just meet friends and go have a drink somewhere, or have a cigar somewhere. And then on the weekends, in the morning, I still I try to do the walk. The coffee is a what's that phrase? I don't deviate. No, it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That's the word. Coffee for me is a non-negotiable. I'm addicted. It's my probably my only addiction, I hope.
Are you a coffee snob?
To a degree. So
Will you drink a Keurig?
I'll drink a Keurig. I won't choose it, but I'll drink it. I'm not going to not drink it. It's still coffee. But if given my choice, I definitely have something else. But the office in Jersey I have my machine that half the staff can't work because it's like, how do you do it? I'm like, you know what, guys? If you can't use it, you're going to break it. Just leave it alone. And then we have a Keurig, and I have like a box O Keurig cup sitting there, and then we have a regular pot. And I only do 2 cups a day. I'm not crazy with it. And when I say a cup, let me be clear: a regular sized coffee mug. This is not a Dunkin' Donuts 44 ounce, half milk, half sugar. No, I'm having 1 black cup of coffee, and I do one in the afternoon after lunch. That's my routine for that. How about yourself? Are
Gotcha.
you?
I'm definitely 2 cups in the morning.
Okay.
I don't use any sugar. I cut sugar out of the coffee.
Yeah, that's why I don't have it, because I don't want the carbs.
Yeah, yeah. Even though I'm fat, like it's from pizza.
It's not from the
and
sugar
alcohol.
It's not from the sugar in my coffee.
Yeah, I don't really have a sweet tooth. I mean, I'll eat dessert if it's kind of around, but
Right.
given the choice, it's it's the savory, it's the pizza, it's the wings. But when I do get focused, I definitely just cut carbs out completely. Just eat grilled chicken, some broccoli,
Yep.
and the weight falls off me. I actually have a fast metabolism. I have to work to have a body like this. Okay, by accident.
No, the paleo style, whether it's keto or paleo or whatever, it really does work. The carbs are like unnecessary. Carbs are just pure, right? It's just pointless. One of the guys was just talking about that he won't drink like sugar juices or sodas. I agree. I don't really ever drink that stuff because it's just empty. It's empty sugar. It's nonsense.
Yeah. Even those that do the juicing. I mean, I've heard a story or two. It was one of the comedians that actually, was type 2 diabetic because he was juicing all the time, and like all the sugar from the juice.
The juice is still
it's
sugar.
just going right into your bloodstream too. It's different than just eating a bunch of apples.
Right,
because
because if you eat it with the fiber, it probably doesn't go in as fast.
Exactly. You're just like mainlining sugar. So, I mean, I just, a lot of the research I've done, I mean, it seems like it really was sort of the factory farming and the industry sort of, not quite bribed, but maybe bribed scientists to create that food pyramid and really push for the cereals and the sugars and really discounted that lower carb, healthy food lifestyle.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, if you've done it, it works. Like if you do it and you follow it hardcore, it can't not work. Like it works.
Oh, I feel better too. Like
yeah.
When I'm on keto or just a lower carb for even like a week, if I have something with sugar in it, the next morning I wake up and my stomach is growling. Whereas if I'm on a low carb diet, I wake up and I'm not even hungry.
Yep, yeah. And what's good too is avocados.
I love avocados.
Yeah, they're good.
Although I don't really care for the Puerto Rican avocados. I prefer the Hass avocados, like the traditional avocados. These bigger ones here, they're okay, but I still like to go to Costco and get the the traditional avocado.
They're good. I mean, if you put a little bit of I guess maybe salt on them and stuff, it's because it's got all that good fat, and to your point, like you get full, and then you're not having like the stomach rumbles. It's like it just keeps you satiated. So then what I'll do during the week, Wednesdays I play basketball. So there's a bunch of guys, they play. They also play Friday mornings. They used to play Sunday over by Parque Barbosa, and then that game moved, and now it's Friday mornings. I'm working usually on Friday morning, so I don't really do that game. But Wednesday night I'll go, and sometimes I'll play Ultimate Frisbee on Monday nights. I haven't done it in a while. I got to get back out there. Those guys are cool as hell.
Nice. I played basketball once, and I felt like I was probably inches away from tearing an Achilles or an ACL. So
you got to stretch,
man.
I
thought it was going to be half court. It became full court.
No, these guys play full court.
Yeah.
I'm like, the one day I was like, it was like a little bit wet on the court, and they're like, oh, it could be dangerous. I go, why don't we just do half court? And they're like, no, and I'm like, but we won't be running. You've removed the danger of the. And I'm like, I just want to play half court because I don't feel like running around like a psycho. And then we ended up. They finally did it. They were like, all right, let's just do 2 half court games.
Have you got pulled into pickleball yet?
You know, it's funny. I mean, I have not played yet. I have to be honest. Even though I know a million people have played, I actually bought my mom pickleball paddles for Christmas. That was one of her gifts. And because she was like. She was actually in Dominican. Remember I was telling you we have the condo in Dominican, and she was over there. She's like, oh, I found these people, and we're going to play pickleball. I'm like, my mom's like, you know, she's older, right? I'm like, you're playing pickleball? I'm like, okay, that's great, you know? And then the people she's playing with are like in their 30s, and she's like 60-something, 70-something years old. And she's like, oh, I'm playing pickleball. I'm in a pickleball team now. I'm like, this is hilarious. Have you played? Is it fun? Everybody loves it.
I've played beach tennis.
Okay, it's almost the same thing?
One of my buddies has gotten into it. He got into it over the summer when he was up in the Hamptons, and now he's playing here. I think at the Echo Sports Park they have it.
Yes, that's a great spot.
I want to actually go because it's good. It's just something else to do.
Well, let me know when you go because I would play.
Yeah, I will. And apparently, though, if you're good, you know, the 60 and 70-year-olds can run you around the court. They're like that good at movement positioning that you know when you're learning, you're the one running around, and like you know the old
they know how to play.
Yeah.
Now, is the ball like a tennis ball, or it feels different?
I think it's. I think it's. I'm not sure. I think it's a little
heavier, maybe.
I don't know if it's closer to a racquetball. I know the beach tennis. It's a tennis ball that's not as inflated.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the guys playing beach tennis. I'm usually playing. I used to do volleyball every Saturday.
Yeah, I used to, way back in the day. I did as well.
Yeah, and I should get back to that because that was actually pretty fun. So I need to get the beach back in my life. I actually went a week or 2 ago, and I always want to go, and we haven't been going. My girlfriend's like, "You want to go to the beach?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And my one buddy lives right in. No, he's one of those apartments that's like close to the beach. So we just like parked at his place. Walked out and like you know did 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever it was. It was just, it's just so
yeah.
nice.
I don't go nearly as often either. I have 2 friends that live in Isla Verde and have buildings on the beach. And
Yeah.
you know where I am in Condado. I mean, you know, it's like there's a couple
Yeah,
of
I know
hotels.
you're
It's
not too far.
Yeah, I
but
get
how
there,
is the
but-
beach there? Is it?
You know, the waves can be pretty rough, and you
Okay.
know, I grew up near the Jersey Shore, so I'm not afraid of drowning per se. But it's not exactly relaxing.
It's not like a chill.
Yeah.
Because Isla Verde Beach, the water was pretty chill.
Yeah, Isla Verde is great. Or I'll go over by kind of numero uno, and
Yeah.
because I like the Jersey Shore. I like the boardwalk. I like being able to. I can only lay on a beach for so long, and then I
You need
want to
some
go,
activities or some
Exactly.
action. Well, have you hung out at Piñones at all?
Once, yeah, I heard the traffic was terrible, but I do want to get out there more. And,
It is the traffic is bad, but if you go early enough, I mean, you won't hit it going in. You're most likely going to hit it going out, but you can also go the other way and then just jump on the highway and loop around.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to definitely just got to get a group together and kind of make a day of it.
There's a place called there's a bunch of little ones right as you first get there, and there's some really good like food over there. Oh my god, like delicious. Then there's this one place called Drift. That's a little further down, and there's another one right next to that. Those two are really cool. Sometimes they'll have live music, but it would be a great. We should get a little crew and just go out there on like a Sunday fun.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the beach nearly enough, and you know, this last year I've been traveling so much, you know, visiting properties, going to conferences that, you know, it's been tough to get kind of a consistency here.
Right.
I've got a couple more trips, but definitely planning on
When
kind
you're-
of being here for a couple months straight and
Yeah.
really just kind of get some.
You
networking
stabilize
going.
a little bit on the traveling. Let me know, and we'll put together just a little get together. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, it sounds good, and it looks like we'll be doing a lot more of this too. We have another guy who kind of went in on the studio, Robbie Krager, who
Yep.
is out of town right now, but we're going to do some shows together.
Yep.
And in addition to my podcast, I think we're just going to kind of just come in and do some hangs. And
Yeah, look. I think another thing we should look at is letting people know, from wherever, if they're on holiday in San Juan or Puerto Rico, and they want to pop on. Like if you come on vacation for 7 days, and if you know about this ahead of time, you can come in for an hour in the studio, right? You could be like our special guest appearance,
yeah,
yada yada
absolutely.
yada. So.
Plug, anybody, if you have something to plug, sure, come in and come in and hang.
Yeah,
if
it's
it's
the
in
whole
the
idea.
afternoon, we may even have some beverages.
Yeah, you just gave me another great idea. I think we should do. I got a whole bunch of things we'll talk about. I like the beverage idea for sure. I'll get some good bourbon or some good whiskey or something. We got some good rums too.
Nice. Yeah, we won't go live with those. Although,
Are we allowed to? No, I don't know. How does it work?
We could probably go live at some point, but maybe it's not a good idea depending on how much bourbon or.
Go
Yeah,
live. No,
yeah.
I got you. Yeah, no, it's better to. But we could drink it on the show, and that's nobody's going to bother us with that, right?
Yeah,
Are there
no,
rules to this? I have no idea.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking about it.
Oh, you don't like rules.
I can hold my liquor pretty well. I think it would take most of a bottle before I start really.
Really going off saying some wild
and
stuff.
I don't have a lot of shame anyway, so
No.
it's like there's very little I'm going to say that.
No, I think I like that idea. We'll get some good. I'll get a good. You know what we could do is we'll get a good whiskey, a good rum, and a good bourbon, or whatever everybody likes, and then we can do one show where we have a taste testing.
We could bring in a bartender even. One of my other favorite comedy podcasts is called We Might Be Drunk. It's Sam Morril, Mark Norman. Did they have a special other? Usually,
I know Mark Norman. That guy's. I like his delivery, his voice. He's very funny.
Yeah, they're both great. And they have a bartender, and they do kind of a special drink every week.
Okay.
And it's a fun show. They talk about comedy road stories.
Nice.
Different life for me. I probably would have tried to be a stand-up comedian. I did it after college.
Really?
I just didn't. I couldn't be broke for a long time. This was early 2000s. It was before the podcast. Before
you could do stuff like this.
Yeah,
it didn't exist this way.
Yeah, it was you either get a sitcom or you're basically a road comic making $50,000 a year, and you're at the Chuckle Hut in Pittsburgh one weekend, you're at the Rochester Comics Cafe, and I just saw too many incredibly talented comedians that I thought were like way funnier than I could imagine being, that were
still struggling.
Struggling, broke. The highlight of their weekend would be scoring road cocaine, and it just wasn't for me. I had it in me from a young age that I just wanted to make money.
Well, you know what I would love. I mean, we could talk about it on a different. Actually, we should talk about it different. I would love to participate in helping bring establish comedy in San Juan. I think San Juan. There's no comedy house unless I'm just not aware of it. I think it could be a place where you could, if you got it on the map in terms of like, hey, comics, when you're on the road. In addition to Chuckle Hut Pittsburgh, you could stop by here in San Juan. We recommend coming January through April is a really great time to be here, and you might be able to get some of those comics to pop in for, just a weekend. You could have one comic a weekend that just does a couple of stand-up shows.
Yeah, I think there's enough. I mean, there's certainly enough English speakers and enough bilingual. Both.
You could do both, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some comedians who are fully bilingual, but I mean, there's enough people in San Juan, even the locals that speak perfect English that can. Right. I think you could just get a standard American comedian that would sell enough tickets.
There's
we
no
should
reason.
look into it.
There's no reason that there shouldn't
be. There was Chris DiStefano, who's a pretty following. So his wife's Puerto Rican.
Wishy or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd be the guy to call. We should talk to him. And see
I
if we
think
get
he's
him
gotten
into
pretty
it.
big. Some of these guys, they're making a fortune on the podcast or selling theaters.
Wow.
But
that's what I'm saying. Puerto Rico, San Juan's got a bunch of theaters. I mean, there's so many places to host. You just need a couple of comics to realize that they just got to come down and do it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Excuse, do 2 shows and have a vacation built in too.
That guy Chris, his special is called Speshy Weshy. I saw it. He's hilarious. He's telling a story about his father brought him to a baseball game. I think it was a Yankee game, and to get him in, he like mushed his hair and made him look a little messed up. He's like, my kid's a little messed up. Can you get him in? And I can't do it as good as he does it. It's freaking hilarious. So
man,
we'll have to do it.
Shane Gillis is one of my other
he's a riot too.
Yeah, he was telling a story about he's like blackout drunk and like kind of jumped over the rail to get closer, and it was a section with the special needs people, and he was so drunk nobody even questioned that he was also special needs.
He's so funny. I'm trying to think of one I just saw him do. He had me cracking up.
By the way, I'm proud of myself for saying special needs and not retard.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, because you can't,
you can't say the R word anymore. See, when I grew up, all those words were. Because you knew you weren't genuinely being rude to that group. Like, it was just a goof. It was never meant. Now I understand why it's not, let's say, appropriate to say, and I get that it's a little. I think everybody's way more sensitive now, which I personally find to be annoying. Frankly, I think that sticks and stones will break my bones, and words names. Not that people should be rude, and not that people should be saying things, but I also think, dude, relax. It's words. Calm down, everybody.
Are we turning into those like kind of the bigoted uncles?
No,
bigoted, but it's weird. Like we're like.
I know what you're saying.
So sensitive now.
No, I just think we're also from New York, New Jersey. I don't think where we grew up, sensitivity was high on the ranking of like it wasn't like surviving and like survival was what was like deemed. I used to play a game. This was a game we used to play. It was called Asses Up. I don't know what it was called in other parts of the state or the country. It was called Asses Up. And the way the game worked was there was a tennis ball, right? And you would have to. I forget exactly the way the game was played, but it was basically a bunch of kids. You'd throw the ball, and you had to run up and grab it. If you dropped the ball or missed it when it bounced off the wall, you had to run and touch the wall was safe. and everybody else could grab the ball and wing it at you as hard as they could as you were running to the thing. And I think you used to get letters like horse. I think you had to spell asses up or something. And when eventually you got to that point, you had to stand against the wall with your head down, and everyone else lined up. These dudes were pitchers in the wing this thing as hard as they could. Your back would be like black and blue, Whether kids should play that game today or not, I don't know. We could debate that on a different show. The point is, that's the games we were playing. So, like, calling me a name wasn't ever going to impact me. Like, winging a tennis ball at my face, that would probably hurt, and it happened. So I was never,
Well, there was a keep away type of game with the ball that started with smear, and there was a word that rhymed with it that I'm not going to say. Just I don't want to get demonetized from. Not that I'm monetized on YouTube, but that was like those games are out there. It's
it was almost like a rugby style game.
Yeah, it's basically just kind of whoever had the ball would run.
Kill the man with the ball.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we didn't have the other name. We were calling kill the man with the ball. So that was, and another game we played was Manhunt. Did you play Manhunt?
A bit.
Basically, there's hide and seek, but like more intense.
Yeah, a couple of friends that lived in more of a cul-de-sac.
Right.
They had enough. I still lived in kind of the boondocks, like an acre lot. So have Although I did ride my bike, 2 miles on a 2-lane highway with like a shoulder about this big, and would ride my bike to play basketball at my friends' houses, and no helmet. It
was still the time of out till the street lights came on. Like we would just be out playing. I mean, literally, we'd come back from school. And it was on my street where I grew up, there was 4 kids. It was me, Brian, Joe, Eddie, Mike, and my brother Rich. And we would play football. It was like a standing game. And it was 3-on-3. And like that game would play. And the cars would come and you have to stop and wait for the stupid car to go by. And then the car would go by and like, all right, game back on. And like, this is it. This is what you did. Until my parents were like, all right, get in here. We got to eat, And now it's like I talk to parents who are now peers of mine. Like, I'm the age I could have children that are 12 to 15 years old, and they're like, "Oh, you can't let your kids out." I'm just like, okay. I'm like, I mean, I don't know if I'm just not with the times, but I guess it's just not how it was. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
I'll bring it back.
It's a different world, and I don't know if it's. I mean, things happened back then too, I guess, but maybe now, just like with the news and social media, more high profile. Yeah,
I think and I don't have any kids at this stage yet, so. I haven't even experienced what they deal with children and the iPads and all that stuff, and cell phones, and I haven't really put much thought into it. But if you think about it, how more complicated it must be, because I mean, if you have access to the internet, I mean, how are you really monitoring this stuff? Once a kid learns a word or something, if they Google it, I mean, you as a parent better learn how to make sure you have all of the protections. Because if I'm a kid and you're blocking it on Google, let's say, I could just download a different browser. Like, kids are smart.
Oh, yeah.
How do you, I don't know, it's so complicated.
Oh, I mean, I could say this because the statute of limitations is long gone, but, I had ordered on Prodigy Internet a cable descrambler. This had to be like 1994.
Oh, the cable boxes. Yeah.
It was one of the boxes we had. You could open them up and you'd just put a little thing in, and it would actually open it up for 30 to 45 days. So I had all the pay-per-views. I had the Spice channel.
All the channels.
Yeah. So
I used to have to watch Spice as a blurry smear.
Yeah. So I actually used the parental lock so that
You locked your parents out?
They didn't know that we had it.
You see what happens? Kids know everything over
Once
here.
I went away to college, I told my father, and he was like, "You son of a..."
He's like, "You should have told me. You locked me out. You should have let me in on that."
Yeah.
My God.
So my first sales training though was Cutco knives.
Yes, I remember that.
So I went to this thing. It was like make $15 an hour when I'm 18 years old. And
it was like a door-to-door thing.
Yeah,
right? They had
you call your friends' parents, and it was like you guilt them into basically buying a knife from you. But what I didn't realize is word was out that I also knew how to do the cable descrambler.
So they could care less about the knives thing?
They're buying a knife, and at the end they're like, "Hey, I heard you." So I was getting these purchases of knives in exchange for helping get them
to get the other thing. It's like your lost leader.
Yeah.
You're like the #1 knife salesman. They're like, "This guy's amazing." He's like, "Yeah, it's only for this," but you can't tell everybody.
It was good sales training though, and I've run into a bunch of people who did it for a summer, and I ended up just doing it for one summer.
Right, but you learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I mean, sales training, everybody kind of gets it in a different way, but I mean, sales training is super powerful.
Absolutely.
And
I take a lot of that stuff for granted. I actually that's another one of my weaknesses. I always assume a lot of people know a bunch of stuff that I just assume people know, and sales is. I always think sales is somewhat of a natural skill, but it is more of a thing that can be learned. And I know Xerox was big on teaching their guys on how to be good salesmen. So I have a friend who went through that program, and he said he only did it because he knew at some point he would go to a different job, but he really wanted to get their sales training. So I guess Cutco had it as well. And those are skills that you use forever. Like, those are great skills to have, regardless of the career role you're in, regardless of what job you have, or what sector, like what business you're in. It's always good to have, some kind of decent foundation in sales, I think.
Yeah, and I
really
think it's a super powerful skill.
Yeah.
And I'm we're similar age, and my two best friends have kids that are becoming teenagers, and I spend a lot of time talking with them about how do they, prepare their kids for life, entrepreneurship potentially,
Right.
In this changing world.
Right.
And before it's like me, I feel like I'm a fat guy talking about my diet before. Now I'm like two guys with no kids talking about giving advice for your children. So I have no kids that I know of. So.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, but it's just fascinating. Just like kind of just brainstorming with my friends, and all of us grew up, kind of working class, and none of us had none of us were poor, but we didn't have a lot of money. They've all done kind of
Pretty
much better than the way we grew up. And
Yep.
it's like, how do you?
Well, let me ask you, did you ever read Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, so my aunt gave that to me for my high school graduation.
Nice. So it's a
And-
good time to read it early on.
Yeah, it was a great gift, and she actually wanted to get into real estate too, and I helped her find a property or two, and we had a little bit of a falling out because the properties didn't go as well as
Well, things happen.
Yeah. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it was a great gift. It's kind of good.
It's a game changer. It's a mindset changer, and I mean, I'm bringing it up because you had mentioned something about how you're talking to your friend about the kids and how they're preparing them for the world that we were. And at that point, that book came out, I think, in the mid '90s, let's say. And at that point in time, Kiyosaki was preaching about how the go get a job, safe, secure job was over. He was talking about that. I mean, the '90s is what? How many? 30 years ago? I mean, so he was talking about that then. So to your point, since that world, we're all sort of aware that world is not as stable and as strong as it was in, let's say, the 80s or the 70s or even the 60s, where you could go get a job at a big corporation, work there your whole career, get a pension, and that was life, right? What kind of things is your friend teaching to his son or daughter about the way the world works now in terms of job and career?
Yeah, no. So one of my friends definitely, kind of wants to push more the entrepreneurial route.
Okay.
And the other one is just kind of, I think, just try to at least give as much information and share as much as possible. What's interesting too is, both of their kids are very much into video games. And when we were kids, it's like, you're not going to make a living playing video games. But there's people who make millions of dollars in video game tournaments.
How that's
so,
changed,
yeah.
right? Like, stop playing video games. Like, I'm the champion of blah blah blah. Did you see Gran Turismo? This movie? Did you hear about this?
I saw a commercial for it.
Without giving away too much of it, basically this guy from Nissan or Nissan, depending on who says it, marketing it turned out to be a great idea to take the kids who play the video game, because the game is actually very realistic, Gran Turismo, and then take the best players and put them in a real car. So I just thought that was awesome, and it's a very interesting movie, worth a watch.
Wow, yeah. Well, that won't happen for Madden or NBA.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're playing video, like playing football, and they bring you on the field.
Yeah, I think for my just to tie up my friends and the kids, it's just about like making sure they're aware of of all the opportunities of entrepreneurship, and that it does, honestly, right out of college, it usually does make sense to at least have a corporate job for a couple of years, to kind of understand how it goes, but just to make sure that they're aware of the other opportunities. I think real estate is so powerful that if you do have a passion, if you know how to do real estate and you can build some investments, it can allow you to go for your passion, even if your passion is maybe not going to be the biggest moneymaker.
Yes, it can provide that consistent annuity-like cash flow to free up your hours, because that's what you're doing. You're either trading time for money or time for, you're always trading that. So you want to figure out, how do I trade less of my hours for, that's the difference between active income and passive income, right? So passive income, even though, yes, passive income still requires you to do stuff. We're not saying that it's just pure passive. You're still going to have to do stuff. But the idea is that you're not trading exact hour for pay, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've said a lot about active passive income. So we invest primarily passively. We're either a co-general partner where we're slightly involved, but we're not the one swinging hammers. We're not the one really quarterbacking most of these deals. But I spend my time vetting the sponsors ahead of time, doing diligence on the deal up front, flying to conferences, making connections, so that we're getting sent. We probably get sent 100 deals a year, and maybe we do 12 to 15 of them.
Right, because you got to go through them and make sure that they're worth doing.
And of those 100, most of the sponsors and the partners looked at another 200 to 300 each, and they send us 3. So we have 20 or 30 different groups sending us the best of, they might look at 250 deals, send us 3 a year, and we have 10 to 20 groups doing that. So we're really already getting the best of the best, and that is years of building a network that has turned on that funnel for us of those opportunities. So that's where the work is, and I tell people, if you want to get into it, it's not, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You need to digest podcasts like this, go on Bigger Pockets, go to conferences, just meet other investors that are doing it successfully, build that referral network of others that have had success. That takes a lot of time and effort and work as well. But once you've built that properly, that passive income will flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I have personal goals of what I'm trying to hit, and there's been setbacks along the way, but it is overall, I would say, it is working. And a few more chess pieces, and I should be, where I want to be. Now, where I want to be may not be where Grant Cardone wants to be or somebody else wants to be, but that's okay. I know where I want to be, and I know what I'm aiming for. What that allows me to do, which is genuinely, in my world, it's going to allow me the freedom, let's say, to continue to do loans, but at the same time, if I want to pull back, I'll still have, a decent foundation, let's call it, of cash flow that helps, pay for life, because life ain't cheap. So, and whether you do it through real estate or you choose a different vehicle, so be it. I just think it's a good way to do it, because that passive income, and for me, it was real estate. It is real estate. That is one of the things I've chosen, and I've put a lot of energy into learning it, and I'm still learning. I mean, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and there's probably so much stuff that I can learn from you. There's so much stuff I can learn from Robbie. There's so much stuff I can learn from Jeff, and one little tidbit of that is that I'm not afraid to do deals outside of where I grew up, let's call it, right? So, in fact, I think it would be better to do some of the deals because the price points get more attractive, the taxes are less. So that's something I may not have done if I hadn't expanded my network and continued to push through, right? Some people's vision is very small, and Jeff was here before, mentioned the new book by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Be Useful, I think it's titled, and another buddy of mine read it, he said it was really good. So that's 2 recommendations I've heard, so that might go into the podcast for the walk. So...
Yeah, that's interesting. Arnold's had a great life. I mean, to become governor, and he has a pretty extensive real estate portfolio as well.
Yeah, it's funny. I watched his. It's funny you mention that. I watched his documentary. I think it came out before the book. That was probably all part of his, marketing blitz. But I just watched it recently. I think it was on Netflix, and it says that the way he was able to transition from his regular job to doing movies was because he had built a real estate portfolio in California. I mean, this is in the 60s or 70s. I guess it would have been the 60s or 70s. And because he had money coming from that, that's what allowed him to go read scripts and sort of get into. Because people are like, I forget who it was. I think it was Bill Burr. Was like, this guy's unbelievable. He's like, I will be a famous actor. They're like, this guy's got the worst accent. He's never going to be who's going to pick this guy for a movie? Sure enough, he became literally the biggest actor of his time at that 70s or in the 80s. I mean, he was the biggest actor at one point, the biggest actor. And again, right mentality, hard work. But funny enough, it was real estate that allowed him to have that freedom. So that's very interesting. They mention it. They kind of gloss over it. But if you're a real estate guy, you're like, can we rewind that? Oh my God, I didn't know he was in real estate. So,
yeah, it's great, and I know there's a number of athletes too. I think Magic Johnson's built a pretty extensive portfolio.
Shaq he owns 5 guys. He's got he's got so many holdings and stuff.
And he's not afraid to just be funny and do a commercial. His Gold Bond commercial would crack me up, where he's like a little bit of shake, a little bit of tingle.
He's hilarious. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's funny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and those guys have made, and Jordan too, the amount of money these guys have made after their sports career is just tremendous.
Yeah, did you watch Air?
That's one I haven't seen, but I heard it was great.
It was good. I watched it on an airplane. It was good. It was
Okay,
good movie,
nice.
yeah.
I'll have to check
Yeah,
it out.
and I was a Bulls fan in the '90s. And,
Yeah, I was a Jordan, always
yeah.
a Jordan fan.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan versus LeBron. I mean, I'm still closer to the Jordan.
Me
time.
too. Me too.
But-
What's crazy now is one of Jordan's sons married Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
That is wild.
That is wild. I guess Jordan and Pippen got another ring, which I stole from another. I stole that from somewhere else. But
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
yeah.
Well, that's a wild incest. You know, I mean, they're not related, but they're definitely. That must have been
Yeah.
awkward. And
Yeah, first The Last Dance, then that. That's like salt in the wound right there.
Scotty, we're with you, man.
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough.
Well, we've went a long time here. We'll do this plenty of other times
Okay,
in the
cool.
future, I think.
Yeah,
It's really,
absolutely.
really cool episode. Why don't you just tell everyone where to get a hold of you?
Yeah, if you guys need to find me, I'm www.acelandmortgage.com. You can just go on there and hit contact for more info. That's the easiest way to find me. If you need anything with real estate or mortgage, give me a call. I'll do the best I can to help you. Whether it's something I can handle or not. Like a lot of times, I mean, that's one of the things I've done for my whole career is tell people, look, give me a call. I'll do what I can. If it's in my wheelhouse, I'll be the guy helping you. If it's not in my wheelhouse, I will help you find the right person to solve whatever your issue is. Because my network is relatively extensive, and I do know a lot of people from, a lot of different aspects of the business. So yeah, definitely hit me up, and happy to help as many people as I can as well.
And you're a straight shooter. You're easy to work with. You got that
Yeah.
New Jersey bluntness in,
Yes,
in a productive way.
Yes,
And,
we get it done. We're not going to waste your time. If I can't help you, I'll just tell you, look, it's not something we can do, and it's out. If it's not even within the wheelhouse of people I know, I'll just let you go, so you're not wasting your time either. So yeah, definitely, man.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll do this again soon, and
Pleasure,
love the
dude.
new studio.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
That's all for this episode of Alternative Investor Mastermind. Now that you know the many alternative opportunities out there all up for the taking, you can finally become ultra connected and ultra wealthy. Get more valuable advice from the experts by subscribing to the show at AlternativeInvestorMastermind.com. Become a winner in the world of passive investing today in alternative investment strategies. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.